So over the last few days, I've been kind of thinking, who is the most underrated fighter that we have ever seen in the UFC? A few names came to my mind, but there was only one person that really kind of stood out to me. I honestly thought of Conor McGregor as one, if you look into it. But one name stuck out more than the rest. Aljamain Sterling, I believe, is the most underrated, undisputed fighter that we have ever seen in the UFC. And I'm going to talk about why. First of all, we're going to look at his resume. Second of all, we're going to look at why people dislike him. And third of all, I'm going to make a little bit of a comparison to one other fighter that I think should be on this list. But we'll start with his resume. So Aljo has beaten TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, Pedro Munoz, Brett Johns, Henry Cejudo, Peter Yan, Calvin Kattar, and Brian Ortega as his notable wins. Now, obviously, Pedro Munoz, Brett Johns aren't exactly higher end, but I know the Marlon Moraes knee caught him. I know he lost to Movsar, but he was fucking close to beating fucking Movsar. I was loving it. He lost to O'Malley. We all know O'Malley fucking got privilege in that fight. Aljo was just not 100% at all. And if you just look at the quality of wins, like Cejudo is a double champ. He retired on top. No one actually beat Cejudo to get the belt. Peter Yan was this unstoppable force, and Aljo just backpacked him for 2 rounds and won the first round with body kicks. TJ Dillashaw was another controversial one. The shoulder popped out, not much you can really do there, but you still have TJ Dillashaw as a name on your resume, okay? He was able to get TJ down, the first to be able to get the shoulder to pop out, but literally, you couldn't even say that. Then he beat Calvin Kattar in a new weight class at featherweight. Calvin Kattar was notoriously good at stopping takedowns. Calvin Kattar had the highest takedown defense in featherweight history. Aljo went in there and just bullied him. Now, it wasn't exactly not Max Holloway, it wasn't Giga Kattar, but still it was a version of Calvin Kattar that was there. He was UFC 300, he was prepared. He just dismantled Brian Ortega, and if you look at Ortega's last couple of fights, you have like the Yair fight was very close. He beat Yair Rodriguez. He's beat people like Frank Yeager in the first round, knocked him out, and this is when Frank Yeager was actually pretty good. I just think Aljo's wins just stack up so well. Peter Yan is still on form. Aljo is literally still on form. And if we're looking at underrated fighters, you don't really talk about Manny in the conversation. I feel like when you lose to Sean O'Malley, you do lose a good bit of credibility, especially when you were the guy that got knocked out by Sean O'Malley. I feel like a big reason why Aljo isn't discussed enough is because, like I said, when you're the one that got that real KO, you were the one that Sean O'Malley had his moment with. The moment that Sean O'Malley became like a big name in the UFC, became the champion, was from Aljamain Sterling. And that's going to play a big factor into why people just remember that for Aljo. They don't remember the Cejudo fight. They don't remember the Yan fight. They don't remember the Ortega fight. They don't remember these other fucking scraps, the Pedro Munoz fight that Aljamain has had. They just remember the KO. And when you get KO'd against Marlon Moraes and you're really fucking out badly, that was a fucking brutal KO from Marlon Moraes, then things definitely change. But I think if you put all the body of work, and plus I think just to see him get knocked out and come back again is extremely impressive to me. Listen, I fucking rate Aljamain Sterling as a person extremely high. I do. I love Aljo. I feel like he's always just been kind of like a genuine guy, and he's always spoke very well, and whenever he lost, he took it on the chin and kind of gave inspiration. I've taken inspiration from Aljamain Sterling, I've no problem with saying that. I've taken inspiration from fucking loads of fucking fighters. These are the most inspirational people on the planet, in my opinion. Like, the shit they go through to try to accomplish their dreams, which is exactly what I am trying to do with this fucking channel. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but I've taken inspiration from Aljo, and I feel like he's just so disrespected. So fucking... As you can see on screen, the Sean O'Malley KO is a massive one. It's a massive one, okay? Like I've said, the Marlon Moraes KO is a massive one as well. But there are a few kind of talking points. Like I said, TJ was a bit iffy. The Yan knee was a bit iffy. The Cejudo fight, some people thought Cejudo won. No way did Cejudo win that fight. He lost to Movsar. Barely losing to Movsar, by the way. Just losing to Movsar. And I feel like 1 or 2 more scrambles could have went his way, and he would have won that fight, which is just really shows how good he is, because he's moving up a weight class as well. You know what I mean? He's moving up. He got chinned before, and I feel like the fact that we've seen Aljo get chinned is a massive part of it. And like I've said, when you add the guy, because they posted, Sean O'Malley knocks out Aljamain Sterling and what, UFC 292 or something like that, 293, whatever it was. You're the poster boy for the KO, but you're the one getting KO'd. You don't really see that. You don't really see that in these kind of conversations. But I feel like real G's know how good Aljamain Sterling was. I really liked Aljo back in the day when he was champion. Do I think Aljo can become a champion again? If you look at it, the featherweight champion right now is Volk. I would love to see that fight. I think that would be an incredible fight. Obviously now, like him and Lerone Murphy is kind of going at Aljo for saying he deserves a title shot. I don't necessarily think Aljo deserves a title shot over Lerone Murphy. But if you're thinking Lerone Murphy is undisputedly deserved the title shot, I think you're a bit stupid. Because he's literally coming off a win against someone who's making his UFC debut. And he just done it in the most impressive fashion ever. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly. If Lerone Murphy had barely beaten Aaron Pico, let's say he 30-27 them and just kind of like boring fight. Boring scrap, took it on short notice. Do you think that me and you would be having a conversation about Lerone Murphy deserves a title shot? Or would we be having a conversation that Lerone Murphy should fight Arnold Allen? Lerone Murphy should fight Yair Rodriguez? He just done the best possible thing at the fucking best possible moment. And that's sometimes all you need. Look at Ilya when he didn't knock out Josh Emmett actually. When he just dismantled Josh Emmett. Should he have got a title shot off that? Fuck no. But there was no one else. The timing was perfect. Sometimes you don't deserve it. Sometimes you've just done the perfect thing at the perfect moment. And that's all it takes. He deserves it over Aljo. Simply because Aljo's literally lost to Mobzar last fight. You can't exactly give him a title shot. I would love to see Aljo versus Volk. I think that would be a great scrap. I think Volk would probably win, simply because I think he's very, very good at keeping people off his back. He's very good at standing up, and I feel like Volk is just a complete fucking animal. But that doesn't take away anything from Aljo. Like, the disrespect, I've seen it throughout the years with my own fucking eyes. The disrespect on Aljo's name throughout the whole years have been crazy. Crazy. One day, I feel like UFC fans will kind of wake up to how good Aljo was. When you're able to do that to Peter Yan in the rematch, when you're able to beat a Henry Cejudo, when you're able to beat a Corey Sandhagen the way he did as well. Corey Sandhagen, unbelievable win, one of the most slept on wins ever. That was literally when Corey was on the come up, and that was, I can't wait to see Corey versus fucking Merab now that I even think about it. I love Corey Sandhagen. I just feel like you look at the way he's beating these guys, who else is going to be there? Which brings me on to the last point. I mentioned there's a fighter that's not talked about enough as well, but is properly rated in his own regard. Kamaru Usman. When's the last time you heard someone say Kamaru Usman is the GOAT? He falls under the same category as Aljo, where you see him get head kicked by Leon Edwards, you see him lose to Leon Edwards, you see him lose to Khamzat Chimaev, and in your head, you don't think of the Usman that knocked out Masvidal. You don't think of the Usman that knocked out Burns. You don't think of the Usman that beat Tyron Woodley. You just don't think of these guys. You don't look at his resume and realize, oh shit, this guy's already beat Leon. Oh shit, this guy's beat Sean Strickland. Oh shit, this guy's beat Tyron Woodley. Masvidal twice. Gilbert Burns. Colby Covington twice. You just don't think of that. You think, because you remember Joaquin Buckley as well. You just remember the KO, which is why Usman is never in a GOAT conversation. GSP somehow gets a pass, but you know what I mean? Maybe because GSP avenged this loss, Usman didn't really with the Leon Edwards third fight, he lost. But I feel like these fighters just get disrespected because in your head, and I fall victim to it too, you just remember them getting KO'd. Am I the only one that thinks that? We never got that with Khabib. If Khabib got KO'd by Gaethje, that would have been in our head. That would have been in our head. Israel Adesanya. I literally made a TikTok saying he's overrated. Because in my head, I remember him getting chinned by Imavov. I remember him getting dismantled by Sean Strickland. You don't remember their prime. You don't remember Aljamain Sterling's prime. Because he wasn't exactly a fan favourite. Everyone hated Aljo, actually. Aljo was one of the most hated fighters on the planet. Actually, he was the most hated fighter in the UFC. When he was April 2022, when he was about to fight Yan, bro, I am actually so confident. If you name me a year and a month, I can guess the main event of a pay-per-view that month. It's honestly insane. See what I just did that top of my head, April 2022, but still. Aljo was one of the most hated fighters ever. I love Aljo, like I've said, but I just feel like Aljamain Sterling is the most underrated fighter of all time. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know who you think down below, and thanks.